So I always like to point this out, but it all started with Ricky Gervais. Now what I'm actually referring to is the fact that we've had Ricky Gervais in the past really put the actual spotlight on celebrities that try to act like politicians, celebrities that try to teach their audience or their loyal fan base a lesson that they don't even want to hear or deal with, and Ricky Gervais is the one that really pointed out that celebrities aren't really as important as they believe that they are, and how he really shined the light on that whole issue that's been going on in Hollywood, in the media now for well over 10 plus years. That's been an ongoing issue within the film industry, within television, within anything related to the media at that. And now we have Ricky Gervais taking shots at no other than Robert De Niro. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike Zero. When I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. So we know that Robert De Niro has been a very toxic individual. We know all of the inflammatory comments that he said on live television in the public eye. No, saying the worst things of all about the American people and everything else about politics that really just made absolutely no sense, to be quite honest with you. But looking at Ricky Gervais, all right, well-established comedian and actor, we know that he's been pressing on this issue for a very long time about how there's a lot of these deranged actors in Hollywood that really spout the most nonsense out there to the public. Now focusing on Ricky Gervais, here we know one thing about him specifically is that this man does not care about what he has to say and how he has to say it. And if he gets backlash, he gets backlash. He doesn't really care about that. But what's interesting thing about this is that with the entire media now panicking in the wake of the pushback and backlash from the general public, one monumental development that is now active involves more to do with comedian and actor Ricky Gervais, where he recently went on a rant toward Robert De Niro after his comments went viral around the globe. Over 2 months ago, Ricky delivered the following: when you're doing comedy, it's difficult now in 2024 for many comedians. I think it's very important to keep the attitude that you don't care if you don't have a filter when doing comedy. Unless you're somebody like Robert De Niro, who clearly has no filter when he's just caught in public. That's when you are getting caught acting like a fool, saying the most ridiculous things. I think most Americans, and especially many of us in the UK, we are just so done with the PC garbage that people like Robert De Niro have endorsed over the years. It's one thing to support it, but to force it onto your fans, especially your loyal fans, when, well, you are just driving your career into the ground, then it's just pointless to do that. I think we need to ignore actors like Robert De Niro, who spouts so much nonsense. Because look at what happened to him. Look at how much backlash he got for saying some of the most awful things on television. So, yeah, I think that we need to drop celebrity worship. I think we need to just view them as entertainers doing their job. It's hey, of course it's how, of course, why I love comedy. I get to take jabs at my issues with these types of things. We need less people like Ribeiro and George Clooney who try to teach a lesson to the American people. It's garbage. You are an actor, do your job and make the best films that you can, and focus on that instead. Perhaps that's why Mr. De Niro and Mr. Clooney's films have been scaled back with quality. I just don't think that they are getting the offers that they want anymore at their age. I think people are welcoming change with open arms right now, and these celebrities that try to act like politicians are just losing their minds and losing their fan base. This is why we saw Robert acting the way that he did in public. So yes, I am a firm believer in change. I am seeing this happen every single day. Everything is changing for the better. So guys, let me just pause here about what Ricky Gervais is saying before I move on. Now Ricky Gervais is really putting Robert De Niro and even George Clooney somewhat in the hot seat. He's putting them on full blast right now, really saying how they try to act. Like politicians, they try to act like that they are leaders of a whole country, and that they're trying to convince their fans and the general public on how to think and exactly how they should actually look up to celebrities as pretty much the source of information. And that's ridiculous. That just goes to show you that we know that Robert De Niro is truly deranged. George Clooney is truly deranged. Ricky Gervais is 100% right on all of these issues. This is why people have loved G's and his actual work that he contributed to comedy is that his comedy, a lot of it is very unfiltered. It is very much a raw in style, and I think that's why a lot of people do love the work that he does. I think that we need him at the Oscars. Again, to be honest, I think he did a fantastic job before in the past, but focusing here on Ricky Gervais yet again. All right, he goes on to continue. Nobody wants to deal with the woke BS in film and television anymore. They just don't. It's of course those like Robert and George that are forcing that onto their fans, and I just think all of these studios are facing so much pushback that they have no choice now, and I think it's going to be great for me. I think it's going to be great for all comedians because we are finally going to be able to break some barriers without having the fear of losing some contracts or offending some of the studio executives. I got some great work that I'm working on now that's going to address this massive cultural shift, and perhaps I will even touch on Robert De Niro again. So, again, he's addressing that he's working on comedy, a material that's going to focus on this massive cultural shift that we all witnessed, by the way. From November the 5th until now, nobody expected it to be this large of a shift, where basically, because of the election results, you have all these studios now backing away from Day. You have a lot of these organizations backing away from Day, not all, but many. I think that many will follow suit eventually, but this is a very interesting take by Ricky Gervais is that now it's going to be very much great for many different comedians out there. There's one comedian in specific, Jerry Seinfeld, who I found to be a flip-flopper. At first he called out all the a garbage out there. Then he said, oh, I'm all for it. And then he said that I'm against it. It's like he's trying to really stay on the fence to keep all of his audience and play, and I don't think that's how you got to do things. You don't have to play it like that. Ricky just says it like it is. He puts his opinion out there, and he doesn't care if it's going to, disagree with some of his fan base. So, overall, I think that this is a very interesting touch by Ricky Gervais about Robert De Niro, about how you have also people out there like George Clooney that are really trying to change the ways of the public in the most negative way possible. By the way, he goes on to conclude, I couldn't be happier to see that people are waking up and realizing that these celebrities are not as important as they think that they are. So, that's the end of his argument there. That's the end of his point, his overall view on what's been going on since November the 5th. And I think when you look at Ricky Gervais, you're going to see a lot of great morale coming from this guy. Whether or not he goes back to the Oscars, who knows? I doubt it's going to happen in 25 or 26 for that matter, but I think he will eventually come back. I have no doubt about that, but we know that Ricky Gervais is working on a lot of material. He said it right there. That's going to address all these different celebrities that were really just caught red-handed with all of their nonsense, with all of their lives, and I think it's going to backfire on them even more so. So overall, I would love to hear what everyone has to say about Ricky calling out all of the stuff that's been happening since well over a month and a half now. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later. Music.